Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the RGVSports.com Google Hangouts. We're reviewing Week 6 and looking ahead to Week 7 for a bit. My name is Dennis Silva. I'm here with my fellow monitor co-workers, Greg Luca. Greg.
Howdy.
And Mario Aguirre. Mario, how are you doing tonight?
So, pretty good, Dennis. How are you?
Not so great after that Texans loss, but we'll get over it and we'll move on. So, Mario, let's start with you. You had the big game of the week last week. You had Sharyland and Mission Veterans Memorial. Mission Vets coach David Gilpin not being shy about it as far as claiming maybe for the district championship. Yeah. Sharyland now has beaten Edinburgh Vela. They've beaten Mission Vets. So with the win over Vets on Friday, are they the clear front runners for the district championship in your eyes?
Yeah, because at this point I don't think there's a number 4. I think fourth would be either Roma or Sharyland Pioneer. Neither could hang with Sharyland High. I mean, I don't see them really hanging beyond a quarter with Sharyland High. I think Sharyland High is just ahead of everyone else. Mission Vets didn't really show up for that game. I'm surprised. I would have imagined the score to be bigger than what it was. I mean, it was 37-20. Seemed like, Mission Vets was kind of there, but I just think that's a product of Sharyland High not scoring as much. Lance Madden again carried the team, but with Santos Villarreal going out, late in the third quarter, Mission Vets just didn't have a shot to rally late.
Okay, and you actually mentioned Santos, who's obviously Mission Vets' big gun. How is he? What's the status update on his injury?
When at the game he left on crutches, and they said it was a high ankle sprain. Talking with him today, he said that he doesn't think it's that severe. He said it was swollen, but it's been better since Friday. He doesn't have a timetable for a return, but even if they rule him out the next 4 to 6 weeks, he said he anticipates playing sooner than that. It's a senior year. He doesn't want to sit out again. He missed the last 4 games last season, 3 in district, 1 in the playoffs. So I think it's going to have to be a really severe injury for him to sit out district, especially with Mission Vets trying to get in at number 2.
Mario, you mentioned they've beaten Vela, they've beaten Mission Veterans, a 3-point win over Vela, then the big decision over Mission Vets. Roma, Pioneer, do any of these teams have a chance of maybe upsetting Sharyland, or do you think Sharyland more or less coasts the rest of the way?
The Roma up until week 5, yeah. Not the Roma we saw in week 6. They got blown out 49-10 against Edinburgh Vela. Up to that point, Roma had the top defense in the Valley in terms of yards allowed, and I thought that would be their best shot at trying to stay toe-to-toe with Sharyland, but considering they got blown out against one of the better offenses in district, I don't know how they'd be able to hang with Sharyland, which has just about the same kind of firepower.
And you mentioned Roma and Edinburgh Vela. Was that more an indication of how serious of a contender Vela is, or maybe does this bring Roma back to earth a little bit, and they are the team we saw there? Like, what do you take out of the Edinburgh Vela route of Roma this week?
I think that's more a product of Vela trying to bounce back from a loss like that. They lost a big one to Sharyland High. That's the kind of win that really could have elevated the program even more than what it has been this season, just being 5-5 last season and getting off to a 4-0 start. They had that streak snap last week, and I think they were trying to make a statement coming out with this game, and they really just took it to Roma. I don't think any team is really going to score on Rome like that this year. They've done a pretty good job of keeping scores low this season. No one scored more than 1 touchdown the last 3 games against Roma. I know Greg kind of questions the competition that they've faced, but I think they've been pretty solid competitors that Roma's faced.
Okay. And Greg, moving on to you now. We had PSG North, who looked impressive. We'll get to them a little bit later, but McAllen Memorial again, Greg, 58-19 over McAllen Row in what is considered a big rivalry game. And it was a Trevor Spates show again. At this point, what are you making of Trevor Spates, and how big of a win, or was this an important win for Memorial, or was it just another ho-hum victory? What did you think about what you saw from that Friday night?
Well, the good thing for them was they had played a close game with La Jolla the week before, winning by only 4 points. So to come back and be dominant again, I think was a really good thing for them. You mentioned Trevor Spates. Obviously, he's pretty good at football. It's just the same thing every week. He runs well, and they block for him, and he scores. It's really, really simple at this point. 5 more touchdowns for this guy. I think he should be Valley Player of the Year. That's something that we've debated, and I don't see how it could really go any other way, but we'll see what you guys come up with as the season goes along.
Eber Lopez, Edinburgh Bella.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So
he's putting up Al Bundy numbers. He had 5 touchdowns in one game, 5 in another, 4 in a
Al Bundy
three-quarter game. Yeah. So he's
yeah.
bringing.
Anyway, Trevor Spades is clearly the best player and has run for many more yards than most other people and has a shot at some serious single-season records, all-time Valley performance kind of things this year. So I don't know. I have a hard time going against him, but the rest of the team looked pretty good too. They finally got a little bit going passing, at least got 2 touchdowns. DJ Johnson caught both from Fabian Pedraza there. And the defense came away with 5 interceptions. A lot of that, I think, is on Rowe's quarterbacks. John Perez and Hector Vasquez both had guys open, and they didn't get any kind of looks from Memorial that they weren't expecting. But their throws were so late and so off target and not to the right people, and it was a total disaster from that perspective. So that was how Memorial came away with 5 interceptions. Whether they can play good defense against a top offense and maybe have to give people confusing looks and things they're not expecting remains to be seen. But for now, to see them get back to being dominant was definitely good for them and solidifies their place near the top of our top 10.
Greg, how much more dangerous is Memorial with DJ Johnson back in the picture? He's an athletic kid at receiver. He gives him some height. I think 6'4", 6'5", maybe 6'3", around there. Just, I mean, is it a game-changing dynamic, or what do you make of his return on what he can give to the Mustangs?
It's tough to say how much to really make of it until they really need him. Again, in this game, they only threw the ball 8 times, and I think if they have their way, that's the way it'll be. And that's not all Trevor. They have a lot of other backs that they feel comfortable getting the ball to, who are obviously a little bit less talented and aren't going to produce as much, but are still capable and still do what they want to do on offense. So if they get into a shootout and they, for whatever reason, the run game might not be there, or they need to get Trevor a rest and the other guys aren't getting it done that day, I think that DJ Johnson and Fabian Pedraza can get some things going in the passing game. And they have a couple of other receiving options who have shown a little bit, especially when DJ was out, but I think for the most part he's going to be their guy in the receiving game, and there's nothing wrong with that. He can definitely get it done, and he's a real deep threat.
Okay, going from a team that we figured would be a contender all along to a team that's come out of almost nowhere, PSG North, who went 0-10 last year, is now, I believe, 3-2 overall, and now 2-0 in District 31 6A. Yeah, Greg. PSG North. I mean, a 42-0 spanking of Edinburgh North.
Spanking.
Surprise at all, or I mean, that just. What do you make of the Raiders right now?
It was definitely surprising to me because I think I've talked about this on the podcast a lot. All of the teams in the district I thought are really balanced. I thought every week it was going to be close games going one way or the other. And for them to win by 42 against anybody was not something I would have projected this year, especially before the season when they were 0-10. We thought this could be one of the bottom feeders in the district. But even now, knowing that they're a pretty good team, that they could beat anybody in the district by 42 unless it's Edinburgh High, that those other 6 teams, I would think that they would be playing each other close every step of the way. So says a lot about that offense. George Olivares getting a fresh start, second chance this year, has done a lot in the running game, has done some things in the passing game too. They have sophomore running back in Rene Ramirez, who also scored twice in this game, if I have that correctly, and had 100 yards. So they got some weapons there. They run like 12 plays on offense, was what Coach Pena was telling me. And it doesn't matter for them. That's plenty to get it done, and they've moved the ball effectively all year, and especially in this game. So they're a really dangerous team going forward. Because
hey, Greg, let me ask you something. Are you driving the Jorge Pena bandwagon at this point?
You know what? I think I should start if I'm not already, because what he's done with this team and what he did in previous seasons kind of backs up the legitimacy of it. Mm-hmm. When he took over at Hidalgo, that was a team that was either 0-10 or 1-9, and he led them to a winning season. When he took over at Rio Grande City, same thing, 0-10, 1-9, something like that, and winning season. So he's proven that he can do this and that this probably isn't a fluke for them. So I think they're the real deal. I don't know. They had some injuries earlier in the year, and they still played a lot of really good teams close. The Mission Veterans game comes to mind. They had a big lead at half against Los Fresnos and let it get away because some guys got hurt. I think now that this team is healthy, I think they're really, really dangerous. And this definitely solidified that and proved it with this 42-point win.
Greg, are they not only playoff contenders? Is this a team that maybe could challenge for the district title, or are we still a ways from that for them?
Challenge for the what? You cut out there for a second.
Sorry, could this team challenge for the district 31-6-8 title?
I would think so. The Weslaco East is still very strong. They're still a team that I have my eye on in that way, just based a lot on what they did in the non-district season. That was really, really impressive. But they have some flaws, certainly. We don't know how good that defense is, and we don't know if they can pass the ball if they get in a shootout with a team like BSJA North. So, yeah, suddenly they are very much in that district title race. Weslaco is kind of creeping back into it. They've been improving week to week, but I think it really is PSJA North is probably the front runner at this point. And they'll show a lot this week when they play PSJA Memorial. That's another team that's sort of in the mix as far as that goes.
Good deal. In the 5A ranks, I was able to go out to PSJA High and PSJA Southwest, and that was a big win for the Bears getting back on track. They got a new quarterback in Troy Flores. He's a senior. They've been going with junior Andrew Castaneda the rest of the previous 4 games. They got a big, nice win over PSJA Southwest. I'm trying to look for it, 27-0. Flores just brings a different running dynamic back under center. That was big. So my guess is they will stick with them, but with Coach Martin, you never know. He likes to throw things up, and he's played as many as 4 quarterbacks in a game this year, pretty often at that. So we'll keep an eye on the Bears, but that was a big win to not go 0-2 in district. In 5A, Mercedes won big again, 40-0 at Chelsea, 38-7 over Brownsville Porter. No surprises anywhere over here. Mario, Donna High, 26-7 over Pace. Mario, I know you're our Brownsville guy, Mario. So
No.
I mean, Pace, Porter. I mean, do any of these guys have a shot at challenging for the playoffs, or what do you think?
I think Pace might have to bank on moral victories at this point because I thought they would be better than what I think I would have imagined that it would have reflected in the record. Because I mean, they do have players posting in numbers. You have Cisneros, their quarterback, who does well, but I mean, it just doesn't reflect in the wins this season. It's a little bit disappointing. And Porter, no matter what it does, it's ahead of where it's been the last couple of years, just by virtue of beating Lopez and last week's win.
Down north? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So right now, everything looks good right there in 5A. Guys, let's go to our top.
Can I ask you guys something real quick?
No, Greg, you can't do it.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm curious if you guys learned your lesson, Mr. Top 10 PSJA Southwest and Mr. Best Defense in the Valley Roma. I'm wondering, after both teams get blown out, if we've changed our tunes any.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're gonna go down, but I don't think anyone saw this.
Yeah, I mean,
I
as
think one
far
or
as
two of us saw this.
Huh?
I think 1 or 2 of us saw this.
You thought Roma was gonna get torched?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dennis did too.
Yeah, I think 49-10.
No, not 49.
Yeah, not 49-10. I thought it'd be like 35-14.
Yeah.
Something like that. But Vena's offense is serious. As far as Southwest, I mean, they're still 3-2 and they're still 1-1 in district. They're still in a shot maybe for the make that last playoff spot. I think them being in my top 10 is more or less indicative or representative. Representative of just how flaky Valley football has been this season, more so than Southwest is just this power. I think it's more or less that, especially the bottom 5. Anybody, you could swip and swap anybody. I think you can make an argument for a lot of teams. That was more or less my reason for that. But they played great football. There's still a lot of season to be left. And falling to PSJ High there's no shame in that at all. PSJ High should be good, and they were a team that many thought would win the district. So I don't think that's necessarily a surprise.
Okay, so you guys are still driving the bandwagon. It's good to know.
Hey,
Yeah.
so let me shoot this out, Des. Do you think any of it has to do with all these schools opening up in the Valley and maybe just having the talent spread out?
Yeah, like you look at somewhere like PSJA, for example. They have 4 high schools from Far to Alamo. Like, that's a little overkill. You have 2 schools in Sherryland who split up, and they're pretty much just opposite ends of the street. Like,
Yeah, they're not going to feel it this year, though. They're going to feel it maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah, they're eventually going to be a sequel to Edinburgh Valley and Edinburgh High, essentially. Yeah, I do think all these schools opening, obviously it does water down the talent as far as at an individual school.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good thing? not athletically, probably not, because you don't have the powers.
Mm.
But it's probably good in other aspects, academics, and kids who want to play sports and have their shot. Great for them. But yeah, I'm sure it does water down uh, competition-wise for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, don't y'all
I think
agree?
about
Don't y'all agree?
I
Yeah.
think about La Jolla in this way. Well, between
Yeah.
La Jolla High, Palmview, and Horace Lincoln, they've all struggled the past, what's it, like 7 or 8 years now since they split, that they've all struggled. So, yeah, definitely I think it's not good for the athletic side of things, but there's probably a lot bigger considerations in play and more important stuff in terms of overcrowding and academics and all that, whatever goes into it.
Hey, Greg,
Yeah.
if La Jolla was a one-town school, do you think how much better do you think they'd be?
It's a good question. I don't know. It's hard to. I don't think you can necessarily answer it by saying, who are the best players on the three teams and make one team that way, because I think it would just be a very different kind of program. I think it would. The standards would probably be a lot higher, and they'd all having all those players in the same camp. They would push each other to a certain extent. So I don't. It's hard to say, but you would think they would be a lot better than they are now.
Because I would argue, and Greg, you're gonna laugh, that the metro area would be strong
No, I agree.
with
I agree with you.
Rivera, Brownsville veterans.
Well,
Um,
yeah. I mean, Brownsville Veterans is like a good team.
yeah, and I
So
mean
yeah, that makes sense.
I would think they're gonna be in the discussion for a top 10 place sometime down the road if or maybe I don't know, maybe this week, maybe next week.
This
Just
week
because,
they're close.
yeah, I mean they're right there on the fringe.
Yeah, no, I agree, especially with Brownsville. And you look at La Jolla, and I think McAllen's maybe. I don't know if this was a rumor or someone just blabbing. I think they're looking at adding a fourth high school, which I just think is
Where?
unnecessary. In McAllen ISD.
Oh,
Hmm.
Edinburgh already has four schools: Economides and Vela and North and Edinburgh High, and PHA you mentioned has four. That's why I think in the Valley, the smaller schools, the Eckouch Elsas, where you get more of these kids from all these areas, and you get pretty much your pick of the talent. Mercedes, Harlingen in a sense. I don't
San
know how much.
Benito.
Huh?
San Benito.
San Benito, maybe. I mean, you just look at these smaller schools. Gruya. Gruya is a program that maybe their quick start in their 4 years shouldn't be a surprise because they're a smaller school and they get all those kids that just feed into that. So it's interesting. Yeah, athletically, it definitely waters down the competition, but obviously there are more things they have to account for than just sports. I'm sure.
if there isn't a Los Fresnos Memorial in a couple of years, I'd be surprised.
Wow, Mario, are you going
Los
on record,
Fresnos
Mario?
Pioneer.
Well, I mean, I haven't looked into it as much, but just knowing that they're a big high school, and just from hearing other coaches say that they have a huge JV, not JV team, fresh off team. I mean, that school's bound to break up sooner or later.
Hmm? Interesting.
You heard it here first, though.
Breaking news. All right, guys, let's go to our top tens for this week. I don't know if there's real much change in mine. I mean, I had Sheryland, I had McCallum Memorial, Vela, I think Mac High was in there, West Go East maybe. Guys, do you see any team or any much difference in the top tens for this week? Did any team maybe fall out? Did someone maybe impress you to where maybe they moved up?
For me, Edinburgh North is out and PSJ North is in, and then Mission Vet slides down a couple spots, and that's about it. It's really not going to change a whole lot this week based on anything I saw.
Greg,
But
don't get carried away.
I think PSJ North deserves a spot for sure, and that Edinburgh North definitely doesn't after what we saw there.
Mario?
Mission Vets drops down one spot at least. I don't know about two. The team's harsh. Um,
I mean, it depends who it is. I've moved them behind Harlingen and Mercedes. What do you think?
who did Harlingen play? They beat
Hannah.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I don't know how to weigh that victory yet.
I think it was 37-21.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think things stay relatively the same. I don't think there were any big letdowns amongst the top 10 teams, right? I mean, I don't think there's anything drastic. I mean, Vela should go up maybe a spot, or maybe stay there. But I mean, I have them right now as my number 2 team. I mean, I think they're better than Mission Vets. if you judge how they played against Sherland, I mean, Vela was within 3 points, and Mission Vets was 17 away. And so, I mean, I would think Edinburgh Villa would beat Mission Vets just head to head, and they play in week 11. So I mean, we'll see that,
Oh, that's the regular season finale, isn't it?
which I guess is the battle for second place at this point.
Hmm.
Unless Sherryland loses to Rome, in order they play Roma. No, they're gonna play Roma, Sherryland Pioneer, Rio Grande City, and Valley View, I believe.
That Valley View game is going to be that's one to watch. They're going to sneak up on them.
Is there a bigger?
Okay, wait, right
is
now.
there going to be a wider gap in score
Ooh,
in the Valley?
Jeez.
yeah, that's a good question.
Because that's the number one team in the Valley against the struggling Valley View team,
Yeah.
and I don't know if there's a bigger gap in any of your guys' districts.
What's been the
I
worst
would
game
say-
so far this year? Does anybody remember one?
Oh, I know in my district, Mercedes and Donna North, which is number 1 versus pretty much number 8, more or less, they were 40-0. That's probably as good as it's going to get in my district as far as point differential.
I mean, yeah, we had a 42-0 this week. I'm trying to think.
Oh, that's true. But I will say the 42-0 PHA North score was a little. I don't know how much you give that because Edinburgh North was without Matt Whitesides,
Right.
and he's expected to be back next week, and so he's obviously a big part of their offense. So I'm not sure that's indicative.
I don't know that he's worth 40 points, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to
And what
think.
we have to consider too is, I mean, teams, but I mean, at some point you figure they're going to rest starters, they're going to put in backups, and the score will just stop.
That's true.
Greg, any comments on the metro area? Anything stand out?
Listen, what I want to know from you is right now, so then later I can go back, is how badly or how many points Sherryland's going to score against Roma?
Roma?
Oh, you
Yes.
want me to go on record?
Yes.
Sherryland will win. Well, here's the thing. I mean, they scored 27 against Vela, so I mean they could have that's an off night for them,
Okay.
and that's not a strong defensive Vela team. They scored 28 against Brownsville Rivera
Yeah.
without an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
mean, Sherryland can be quote unquote stopped. So I don't know. I mean, I would just judging from those two games, I would say Sherryland High 28, Roma 6.
Wow.
Okay, that seems fair.
28-6. Okay.
So then I guess we are on decently about the same page then, now
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, guys. Let's talk about this week for a little bit. Any big games that you're looking out for in your respective districts? Greg, we'll start with you.
For me, it's well, there's two. In 36A, it's probably not one you would expect. I actually am looking at La Jolla and La Jolla Palmview just because I think that game has a lot of playoff implications down the line. Those teams, they're going to be in the 3 to 5 range along with Rowe.
Dennis, are you struggling to keep a straight face?
Go on. I respect Greg's opinion.
No. Okay, well, Palmview beat Dennis's beloved PSJA Southwest, top 10 Southwest. So
That's
therefore,
true. I actually think, hey, Palmview is fine, but La Jolla, really? Are we really gonna throw them into the playoff picture just because they've been competitive a couple times?
well, okay, I think there is a lot to say for being competitive against who they've played. To lose to Memorial by 4 and to lose to Westlaco East by 1, I think it was. And then other than that, they've lost to Vela and they've lost to Mac High. So, I mean, yeah, everybody's going to lose those games. So when they get into some more reasonable competition here the rest of the way, we'll see what they have, and I think they are going to be a contender down the stretch, given Rose struggles and given Mission's struggles and given, who am I forgetting, Horace Lincoln's struggles. So,
Great.
again.
Speaking of Mac High, we didn't get our weekly Freddie football update.
He scored 5
yeah.
touchdowns. He
Five
scored 5 touchdowns, yeah.
He threw for 2, is that right?
I believe he
2.
threw for 3 and ran for 2. I got it right here. I'll double check. He threw for 3 touchdowns, completed 12 of 16 passes.
And that is that accounted for half of his season total. I think he's thrown for 6 touchdowns now. And
Yeah,
that one game accounted for half of his.
he's getting it
Moving
together.
on up.
Greg, if
Moving
you
on.
only had one pick, Greg, for offensive player of the week, would it be Freddie Football or Trevor Spates?
Wow, Trevor Spates, I think he's probably better.
Yeah.
That's
Should
fair.
we just name it the Trevor Spates Award?
Well, you guys don't want to give it to him more than once for some reason, even though he's player of the week pretty much every week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, we gotta share the fruits of the labor every now and then.
This is not a charity event. Somebody has to go earn it.
Hey, Freddie did well.
No, that's fair. It's not like everybody else is having bad games, but I just think in the weeks where he rushes for 300 yards, we can double up.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, I wanted to ask you about La Jolla. Are they the team that lost 21-17 Memorial, or are they the team that lost 41-7 to Mac High? Which one do you think is more indicative of who they really are?
See, the thing is, I'm not sure, and that's why I do have an eye on this game.
No.
I think we'll find out, because it's hard. I really have a hard time saying just based on what I know about them at this point. I know that they pass the ball pretty well, and that's actually something that's rare in this district. So, again, just a team that I have my eye on as far as the playoff chase goes, even though they're 0-2 right now in the district. I think they are an interesting team to watch, and the Palmview game will be telling as that goes.
Which game are you covering this week, Greg?
I would assume PSJ North and PSJ Memorial, but who knows?
Yeah.
Which is the other one to talk about. I'll just get right into that. That's the game to watch in 31-6A.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about North, but Memorial's also had a solid season. They just lost to Westlake East by 8 last week, so they are right there, 1-1 in the district now. And there's a lot of interesting coaching matchups there. Pena is an assistant at PSJ Memorial. PSJ North's coach last year, Steve Flores, is now an assistant with PSJ Memorial. So a lot of familiarity there, and I think that's something that's going to be interesting in this matchup, in addition to the fact that it's just two of the best teams in the district.
Sounds good. Mario, what are you looking at this week in your 31-5A?
Mission Vets at Roma, right?
Ooh.
Mission Vets at Roma.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice drive, hour and a half. I'm sure we'll have one of our photographers go with us.
Right.
I haven't been to Roma since 2 days, so this would be a good opportunity to go out there and catch a game over there.
Yeah.
Gladiator Arena.
That's right.
Let's say. I mean, I haven't seen them this season, so I mean, it'll be an opportunity to see that best defense in the valley, which Greg still kind of laughs at. But
Right.
I mean, if it's not them, who would it be?
I will say this. Statistically, I think PSG High is close. I got to do the numbers, but PSG High is close.
Well, what about the eye test though?
Yeah, PSG High's defense is legit. They can't do much on offensively, or they didn't before last week's game. I will say this. Also, Mercedes apparently held Donna North to 25 total yards.
Mercedes. Could we talk about Westlaco, please?
Do you hold on North to that, or do they hold themselves to that?
What? Sorry, what?
Did Donna North hold? Did they hold Donna North to that, or did Donna North hold itself to that?
I just think it was one of those games where you were just going against a first-year varsity program, and you're going against a team that's probably the favorite to win that district. I think that's what it was a matter. It's just a matter of talent, coaching, depth, everything. And I just think Mercedes is a good defensive team. By the numbers, they're up there. They're probably top 6, definitely top 10. But I think PSG High, by the numbers, is better, and they also had a really good defensive game this week. So, seeing how Roma probably took a step back defensively by the numbers against Vela, I would think PSG High should at least be in the conversation now for the best defense.
And I did cover that game of Mercedes against was it McAllen?
Yeah, was it Rowe? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mercedes defense was lights out. I think that was the best defensive effort I've seen all season.
Look at that. Look at that.
Listen, Westlaco High has not played any cupcakes. The weakest teams they've played are Donna and Harlingen South, and they're averaging less than 200 yards per game allowed on defense. And the weakest teams they've played are Donna and Harlingen South. There's no Donna North game there. There's no 3A schools. There's none of that.
Roma's holding teams to 100 and I think it's 54 yards.
And those teams are like 1-18.
One of those teams is, I think.
I don't buy that.
Not good.
I don't buy that Westlaco High's defense is that good. You can't be that poor of a team, and
how are they that poor of a team?
They're 1-4. Are they 2-4 now?
They're 2-4, yes.
They won their first district game, and they did so against Edinburgh High, 46-0.
They held PSJA North to
You're talking
14.
about cupcakes. Come on.
They held
They
PSJA North to 14.
Okay, PSJA North. I mean, I don't know about your numbers, but they're not some 35 point per game team. They're probably 21, 24 points per game.
They held Donna to 13.
Donna's that's not that surprising. Donna's not a high-powered offense either. They're a run the ball, ground and pound.
I will just say less than 200 yards per game against actual legitimate teams is better than 150 yards per game against the Roma schedule.
But who are you talking about? What team are you specifically like talking about? Because you said Roma schedule. None of my guys played a Roma schedule. None of my teams.
Okay, well, okay, but none of your teams put up those numbers either, so that's why they aren't in the conversation.
Well, Harlingen South is not a good team. They're 2-4, maybe worse.
They're not
they
a
might be
bad
rebuilding.
team, though.
Yeah, rebuilding year.
Come on, Craig. They're not good.
They're not. You guys just look at the records, but you don't look at who they played.
Who has Harlingen South played?
I'll click on it right now, but they're probably. I don't think it's garbage.
They played Vela.
That team's pretty good.
Okay.
I heard of Vela. Who else?
Westlaco East, Brownsville Vets, who we just talked about, and then Brownsville Lopez, who they blew out.
Okay. So Lopez is the
All
only.
mostly decent, mostly good teams, like legitimate fringe top 10.
I mean, Westlaco's not a legitimate fringe top 10.
They'll get there.
Los Fresnos?
They play Los Fresnos this week.
They're there.
Westlaco's is average.
They're honorable
They're-
mention.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really factor in because we're talking about the teams that they went 2-3 against, and Los Fresnos isn't one of them yet.
Right.
I'm just
Greg,
saying.
while you have your web browser open, check Roma's schedule that you
God.
think was just the cakewalk.
Yeah,
I know it was
so-
Laredo Figueroa. It was Uvalde, which is undefeated.
Yeah. Greg, you need to go with me. You need to go with me to Roma.
Palmview and Rio Grande City.
Palmview's okay. That's okay win.
Yeah, well, it was a tie.
Rio Grande City is on a roll now. I think they won 2 straight. They're getting
No.
that's an okay
Maybe
win.
Shaylin Pioneer.
Oh,
Maybe it's just-
Rio Grande City is not good.
But I don't know how you can make this. You're going. I think you're factoring too much into the schedule, and not like Harlingen South's just not going to be a good football team. Like they might not even make the playoffs. They probably won't. Well, they probably will by default because that district's horrible. But
Dennis Easy.
I mean, Palmview's okay. Rio Grande City's going to be okay. Rio Grande City's been hurt the whole year. How are we gonna knock Rio Grande City when they're just now getting healthy?
Harlingen South versus Rio Grande City, Dennis. Give it to me right now.
I haven't
Because apparently Harlingen South is not good, and apparently Rio Grande City is respectable.
No, now they are because they're finally healthy though. You
Yeah.
got to remember these first
Telling-
4 or 5 games. They haven't. Mario can attest to this. They haven't been healthy. They've been
No.
killed.
They lost. They had as many as I think it was 15 players out at one point. They lost 3 to season-ending injuries, and they just brought back 3 starters. That's a big,
This is a team
that's
that doesn't
a
have
huge
depth to
difference. A running back,
So-
a tight end, and I forget the other one, but I mean that's huge when you lose 3 starters.
What I'm asking you is if Harlingen South plays Rio Grande City tomorrow, are you really telling me you're taking Rio Grande City?
Yeah,
No,
14
I
or
don't know.
13.
Okay, well then that's just a different. Then okay, I can't really argue with that then.
What did he say? What did you say, Mario?
14 to 13, Rio Grande City.
I mean, maybe. I haven't seen Harlingen South.
That's fascinating.
I would imagine Harlingen South would bobble the point after attempt.
Very possible. I've seen way too many of those this year.
Yeah.
Moving on, Gray. Okay, Gary, Mario, we talked with you about your Roma and Vets. That's at Roma. Greg, you've got PSA North and PSA Memorial. That's at the awesome PSA Stadium. I can't say enough about that stadium. That stadium is awesome.
Sweet.
And
Love it.
there you go.
Wait, Dennis, when you rate stadiums, is it from game experience point of view or press box reporter point of view?
I think
'Cause
both.
Yeah.
I think both. Traffic flow, getting out of the game, just how it's handled. Like, you know, when you go to press games, everything's scattered, nothing's organized, it's just pretty much free will.
There's
Then there's
crickets.
some-
There's crickets in
There's
the
some
press
stadiums
box.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's some stadiums you go to and it's like everything's in order. They have an elevator. You go on, you go off. Traffic flow is they actually pay attention to traffic flow after games, make it easy to get in and out. I
Sam
just think
Stadium.
those stadiums are the best experience.
Yeah. Sam Stadium, Brownsville.
Yeah, Sam Stadium is one.
Yeah.
McAllen Vets isn't horrible. I'm trying.
Wait, this should be its own hangout. The best, and the worst stadiums.
That actually would be a cool hangout. I would be interested in doing that one.
And then let me sneak one in. Edinburgh Villa has the worst press box in the history of press boxes because to call it an oven is generous. I was sweating there.
When they moved you, right? They have the media on the visitor side now?
Yeah, and on the visitor side, the coaches took over the part that I assumed was for looks like it's for reporters. That part has AC, but then they put us in a small room, a closet room that I think was meant for coaches, and we're sweating. We couldn't stop it. I mean, just sitting there within 30 seconds, you're drenched.
Hey,
So
at least it feels like you went through a workout. So maybe that's
yeah, but I mean, if they could bulldoze the Edinburgh Villa press box, the visitors side, it'd be much appreciated.
I'm sure they'll note it.
Yeah.
In 5A, I'm looking at Mercedes and Donna. Mercedes goes to Benny Laprade Stadium on Friday to play the Donna Redskins. The great Mercedes Tigers, who are 4-1 now. They're 2-0 in district. And Donna, who is 1-1. They're coming off their first win, and they're looking good. So that's the game I will be at. Guys, as we say goodnight, any other last words for either about last week or this week moving forward? Greg, start with you.
No, let's go Roma. That's it. I'm done.
Okay. Well, there's that. And Mario?
Greg, you need to go to Roma. I mean, you can't tell me that your game is going to be better than Mission Vets at Roma.
I actually can tell you that.
The number
We just discussed
against
it.
the number 4 team. Playoff caliber teams.
Sure, whatever, dude. I'm covering 2 playoff caliber teams as well at the beautiful PSJA Stadium. So
That's
I
true.
don't see
You
why
guys
I
have
would
to
want to
say-
do that.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
Gladiator Arena, that is, you talk about game atmosphere. Mario, you're going to love Gladiator Arena. The press box is a little bit small, but you look at the game and the stadium, and in the backdrop is just like open field. It's really nice. And it just, you'll love Roma. I actually enjoyed my time going to Roma when I went the last couple of years, so you're going to have a blast.
Greg, do any of your teams or any of the teams that you're covering this week, are they the best in the Valley in anything? With Roma having the best defense going into Week 5?
These are just the numbers that you have. I don't really know. I'm sure Memorial's up there in something. They probably have the best rush offense, and it's probably not that close, actually.
That's probably true.
I don't know.
That's true.
I can't imagine anybody's on that level.
No. When you have an Arizona commit, I doubt it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right, Greg?
Yeah, most definitely, dude. Most definitely. Yeah, they're really good.
They are. No, they are. And Trevor Spates is a real deal. I can only imagine what he's going to be putting up next year. He's just a junior. That's the crazy thing to think about. Is he's just a junior, and next year is going to be his senior year, and it's just going to be nuts. It's going to be interesting to see all the scholarships that start to come in. He's already committed to Arizona, like we said, but I'm sure, like Shea Patterson, that could change, and he may reopen his commitment, so that would be cool.
Yeah,
is Trevor Spates still the number 3 ranked team in our poll?
He is. He is mine, at least.
Yeah.
I have him number 2.
You know what? I may have him number 2 too.
Probably just Sherilyn and then them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's about right. All right, fellas. Well, we're going to call it a night. For Greg, Luca, Mario Aguirre, I am Dennis Silva, and we will see you next week.